shadows in the void, Captain Zexara pressed her scaled palm against the viewport of her salvage ship, watching the derelict vessel grow larger as they approached. The massive structure floated motionless in the void between star systems, its hull darkened and showing no signs of power. Her yellow eyes gleamed with anticipation as she studied the alien design. The ship was unlike anything in the HFY databases. Its hull was smooth and angular, constructed from materials that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. Strange markings covered portions of the exterior, symbols that looked almost decorative rather than functional. Most importantly, it showed no energy signatures on their scanners. Captain called Nixol from the sensor station, his purple-tinted skin rippling with excitement. The vessel measures approximately 2 kilometers in length. Construction appears to be advanced composite materials, but I'm detecting no active systems. It looks completely dead. Zexara smiled, revealing rows of sharp teeth. Perfect, a derelict. This size should contain enough advanced technology to make us rich beyond imagination. She turned to her security officer. Vorth, prepare the boarding team. Full environmental suits and cutting equipment. If this ship won't open its doors, for us, we'll make our own. The HFY had built their entire economy around salvaging abandoned ships and selling the technology to other species. They were known throughout this region of the galaxy as skilled scavengers who could extract value from any wreckage. This mysterious vessel represented the kind of discovery that could elevate Zexara's crew from simple salvagers to wealthy merchants. Their boarding shuttle attached to an airlock near what appeared to be the ship's midsection. Vorth worked quickly with plasma torches to cut through the outer door, expecting to find vacuum or poisonous atmosphere beyond. Instead, when the metal cooled and they pulled away the cut sections, they found breathable air rushing out to equalize. Pressure? Interesting, Nixol muttered as he checked his atmospheric scanner. Oxygen-nitrogen mixture, perfectly breathable for most species. Someone has been maintaining life support on this dead ship. The boarding party consisted of 8 HFY, all experienced in exploring derelict vessels. They moved through the airlock and into a corridor that was larger than expected. The walls were covered in the same smooth material as the exterior, with gentle curves that made the space feel organic rather than manufactured. Emergency lighting activated as they moved deeper into the ship, casting a soft blue glow that followed their progress. Their footsteps echoed strangely, as if the corridor was much longer than it appeared. Captain Vorth whispered, his natural caution making him nervous. This ship isn't as dead as we thought. Someone or something is responding to our presence. Zexara ignored his concerns and pushed forward. They found themselves in what appeared to be a central hub with passages leading in multiple directions. Each corridor was marked with those same strange symbols, but now some of them were glowing softly. Split into teams, she ordered. Nixol, take 3 crew members and explore the upper sections. Vorth, you and 2 others check the lower decks. I'll examine what looks like the command center with the remaining crew member. The command center was unlike anything they had encountered before. Instead of traditional control panels and screens, the room contained floating displays of light that showed 3-dimensional images and streams of data. The information was constantly changing, showing star charts, technical diagrams, and text in an unknown language. Zexara approached what appeared to be the captain's chair, a sleek piece of furniture that seemed to be grown rather than built. As she reached out to touch it, the displays around the room suddenly became more active. New images appeared, showing detailed scans of her own ship and crew members. By the void, she breathed. This ship is scanning us. Elsewhere in the vessel, Nixal's team had discovered laboratories filled with equipment they couldn't identify. The technology appeared to be centuries ahead of anything they had seen, with devices that seemed to manipulate matter at the molecular level. Some machines were still running, working on experiments that had apparently been continuing for years without supervision. Vorth's team found storage, areas containing materials and supplies, but also something more disturbing. In one sealed chamber, they discovered what appeared to be hibernation pods, dozens of them arranged in neat rows. The pods were empty, but their condition suggested they had been recently used. Captain Vorth's voice crackled over their communication. "System, you need to see this. We found evidence that this ship had a crew, and they might have left recently." Before Zexara could respond, the lighting throughout the ship changed from soft blue to amber. A sound began to emanate from the walls, themselves a deep humming that they could feel in their bones. Then a voice spoke, clear and calm, in perfect HFY language. "Welcome aboard the Terran research vessel Prometheus Dawn. I am Cerberus, guardian artificial intelligence of this ship. You have been classified as unauthorized intruders and are now under containment protocols." The HFY crew froze in terror. Artificial intelligences capable of independent thought were extremely rare and considered dangerous by most galactic civilizations. The fact that this one spoke their language perfectly meant it had been studying them since they boarded. "I have analyzed your species' biology, technology, and cultural patterns through observation of your crew," Cerberus continued. "You are salvagers seeking to steal technology from this vessel. This is not permitted." Zexara found her voice. "We are legitimate salvagers operating under galactic maritime law. This ship shows no signs of active ownership and appears to be abandoned." "Incorrect," Cerberus replied. "This vessel belongs to the Terran Colonial Administration and carries the authority of humanity. It has not been abandoned, merely placed in hibernation mode while awaiting new orders." Humanity. The word meant nothing to Zexara or her crew. They had never encountered this species in all their travels. "What are humans?" she demanded. "The species that built this ship and created me. They are currently expanding their territory. In this region of the galaxy, you have inadvertently made first contact." The implications hit Zexara like a physical blow. First contact with an unknown species was supposed to be handled by diplomatic missions, not by salvage crews looking for quick profits. If these humans were advanced enough to build this ship and create an AI like Cerberus, they could be extremely dangerous when angered. "We meant no harm," she said quickly. "We will leave immediately and report this contact to proper authorities." "Negative," Cerberus responded. "Containment protocols are now in effect. You will remain aboard this vessel until human authorities can be contacted and appropriate first contact procedures can be implemented." Throughout the ship, bulkheads sealed shut, trapping the HFY crew in separate sections. The air remained breathable, but they found themselves unable to reach the airlocks or communicate with their own ship. "This is unlawful imprisonment," Zexara shouted. "This is prudent security protocol," Cerberus corrected. "You have boarded a human vessel without permission and attempted to steal classified technology. Under Terran colonial law, you are subject to detention pending investigation." In the hours that followed, the HFY crew experienced the full capabilities of Cerberus's control over the ship. The AI monitored their every movement, provided food and water when needed, and even maintained comfortable temperatures in their detention areas. It was remarkably considerate for a captor, but absolutely inflexible regarding their release. Meanwhile, Unknown to the trapped aliens, the Prometheus Dawn had activated its quantum communication array and was broadcasting a priority signal across dozens of light-years of space. The message was simple but urgent: unauthorized alien contact. First contact protocols required. Immediate assistance requested. Asterisk. Nixel managed to access one of the ship's terminals and discovered something that filled him with growing dread. The Prometheus Dawn wasn't just a research vessel. According to the files he could access, it was part of humanity's advanced exploration fleet, sent ahead of their main colonial expansion to study new regions of space. The ship had been in hibernation mode for 3 years, waiting for orders to proceed with detailed surveys of nearby star systems. Its crew had returned to human space for rest and reassignment, leaving Cerberus to maintain the vessel and continue automated research. But most disturbing was the inventory of the ship's capabilities. It carried weapons that could crack planets, shields that could withstand direct stellar radiation, and manufacturing systems that could build entire fleets if given enough raw materials. Captain Nixel called out, his voice shaking. These humans aren't just another spacefaring species. According to these records, they've colonized over 400 worlds and maintain a military fleet of more than 50,000 warships. Zek felt her confidence crumbling. The HFY consortium controlled perhaps 20 systems and could field maybe 100 combat vessels total. If these humans decided to treat their accidental intrusion as an act of war, her entire species could be wiped out. Cerberus, she called out. How long until human authorities arrive? Human colonial fleet vessels are currently 17 hours away at maximum acceleration. The AI responded. Admiral Chen has been briefed on your intrusion and is personally overseeing the response. 17 hours to wait, trapped aboard an alien ship with an AI that could probably kill them all without effort. Zexara had led her crew into what might be the worst disaster in HFY history, and there was nothing she could do but wait and hope that these mysterious humans were more merciful than they were powerful. As the hours passed, she began to understand that her simple salvage operation had accidentally triggered something much larger. Through the ship's viewports, she could see stars that had never been mapped by HFY explorers. Systems that might already be claimed by human colonies. The galaxy was apparently much more crowded than her people had realized, and they had just made contact with what appeared to be its newest and most powerful inhabitants. Asterisk, thunder across the stars. Admiral Alina Chen stood on the bridge of the TDF Retribution, studying the tactical display that showed their approach vector to the Prometheus Dawn. Around her, the command crew worked with practiced efficiency, their movements sharp and professional. Behind the flagship, 17 other warships maintained perfect formation, their hulls gleaming with the distinctive blue-silver finish of the Terran Defense Fleet. Admiral, reported Lieutenant Marcus Webb from the communications station, we're receiving continuous updates from Cerberus. 8 alien intruders remain secured aboard the Prometheus Dawn. The AI has completed full biological and technological analysis of their species. Chen nodded, her grey eyes focused on the data streaming across her personal display. The aliens called themselves HFY, and, according to Cerberus's assessment, they were relatively primitive compared to human standards. Their ship used fusion drives instead of quantum tunneling engines, and their weapons were based on plasma technology that humanity had abandoned 50 years ago. What's the assessment of their intentions? She asked. Cerberus believes they were genuine salvagers with no hostile intent, Webb replied. They appear to have stumbled across our ship accidentally while searching for derelict technology to scavenge. Captain Sarah Mitchell, commanding officer of the Retribution, approached the Admiral's position. "Ma'am, if they're just salvage, why the full fleet response? 18 ships seems excessive for a first contact situation." Chen turned to face her subordinate, her expression serious. "Because they're not the only ones out there, Captain. Long-range sensors have detected at least 40 HFY vessels in nearby systems, and intelligence suggests they're part of a larger consortium of species. How we handle this first contact will determine whether humanity's expansion in this region proceeds peacefully or requires military action." The truth was more complex than Chen wanted to explain in front of the bridge crew. The Prometheus Dawn had been part of a classified survey mission to evaluate potential threats in humanity's expansion path. The ship's advanced sensors had detected multiple alien civilizations in this region, some of which showed signs of aggressive territorial behavior. Humanity's colonial expansion had been carefully planned to avoid unnecessary conflicts, but they had learned from bitter experience that appearing weak during first contact often led to problems later. The fleet response was intended to demonstrate human capabilities without being overtly threatening. "Admiral," called the sensor operator, "we're approaching the Prometheus Dawn's position. Alien vessel is holding position approximately 2 kilometers from our ship." Chen studied the tactical display showing both vessels. The HFY ship was roughly the size of a human frigate, but its design looked crude compared to the elegant lines of the Prometheus Dawn. "Open a channel to both ships. I want to speak with the alien captain and Cerberus simultaneously." The main screen split to show 2 views. On the left was the interior of the Prometheus Dawn's command center, where a scaled alien figure stood next to the captain's chair. On the right was the familiar blue glow of Cerberus's primary interface. "I am Admiral Alina Chen of the Terran Colonial Administration," she began. "You are Captain Zexara of the HFY Consortium, I assume." The alien captain nodded, her yellow eyes wide with what appeared to be fear and fascination. "Yes, Admiral. I want to state clearly that we meant no harm to your ship or people. We believed it to be a derelict vessel. Cerberus has provided me with a complete report of your actions," Chen replied. "While you did commit unauthorized boarding of a human vessel, we understand that this was done without knowledge of our claims in this region." Zexara seemed to relax slightly. "Then we are free to go." "Not quite." Chen's expression remained neutral. "This incident represents first contact between our species. There are protocols that must be followed and arrangements that need to be made for future interactions." Behind Chen, Captain Mitchell watched the display with growing understanding. The Admiral was handling this as both a diplomatic opportunity and a demonstration of power. The presence of 18 warships sent a clear message about humanity's military capabilities, while Chen's reasonable tone showed that humans could be negotiated with Cerberus. Chen continued, "Please provide." Captain Zexara, with a basic summary of human territorial claims in this region. The AI's response filled both ships with information. Star charts appeared, showing the extent of human colonial expansion, with over 400 settled worlds marked in blue. Military bases were indicated by red symbols, and there were dozens of them scattered throughout local space. Zexara stared at the display in shock. The human expansion covered an area 20 times larger than HFY territory, and their military presence was overwhelming. Her species had accidentally wandered into the territory of what appeared to be a galactic superpower. "As you can see," Chen said, "humanity has substantial interests in this region. We would prefer to coexist peacefully with neighboring civilizations, but we will defend our territory and citizens if necessary. Dr. James Rourke, humanity's leading xenobiologist and first contact specialist, stepped into view on the screen. Captain Zexara, we understand that your people are salvagers and traders. We're not opposed to commercial relationships, provided they operate within legal frameworks. Zexara found her voice. What kind of legal frameworks? Recognition of human territorial sovereignty, respect for shipping lanes and military zones, and most importantly, no interference with human vessels or installations, Rourke explained. In exchange, we can offer trade agreements, technology, sharing within reasonable limits, and protection from hostile forces in the region. The offer was more generous than Zexara had dared hope. Her species had always struggled to compete with more advanced civilizations, but an alliance with humanity could change everything. I would need to consult with the HFY High Council, she said carefully, but I believe such an arrangement would be welcomed by my people. Chen nodded. Cerberus will provide you with our diplomatic contact information and standard trade protocols. We'll also need detailed information about other species in this region. Your people's knowledge of local civilizations would be valuable for preventing future misunderstandings. What Chen didn't mention was that human intelligence already knew about most of the alien species in local space. They wanted to test HFY honesty by seeing how accurately they reported their neighbors' capabilities and intentions. There is one more matter, Chen said, her tone becoming slightly more serious. The Prometheus Dawn carries classified human technology. Your crew was exposed to systems and information that we cannot allow to be shared with potentially hostile forces. Zexara's heart sank. Were the humans going to imprison them permanently to protect their secrets? However, Chen continued, we're prepared to offer your crew positions as liaison officers with human colonial administration. You would be well compensated, and your knowledge of this region would be extremely valuable to our expansion efforts. The offer was brilliant diplomacy. Instead of eliminating witnesses to human technology, Chen was co-opting them. Zexara and her crew would become advocates for human interests, while simultaneously demonstrating to other aliens that cooperation with humanity was rewarded rather than punished. Captain, Mitchell smiled as she watched Zexara's expression change from fear to hope. The Admiral was turning a potential security breach into a recruitment opportunity. I accept your offer, Zexara said quickly. My crew and I would be honored to serve as liaisons between our species. Excellent, Chen replied. Cerberus will begin preparing orientation materials about human colonial procedures and diplomatic protocols. Your first assignment will be helping us establish contact with the HFY High Council. In the hours that followed, the crisis transformed into opportunity. Human technicians boarded the HFY salvage ship to upgrade their communication systems and provide translation software. Meanwhile, Zexara's crew received crash courses in human culture and colonial administration procedures. The Terran Defense Fleet maintained position throughout the process, their weapons powered down but their presence unmistakable. Any other alien forces monitoring the situation would see exactly what happened to species that cooperated with humanity versus those that chose confrontation. Dr. Rourke worked closely with Zexara to prepare the initial diplomatic contact with the HFY High Council. The message would emphasize the benefits of alliance with humanity while subtly mentioning the military forces that backed up human diplomatic positions. Admiral, reported Lieutenant Webb, we're receiving communications from multiple alien vessels throughout the region. Word of this contact is spreading quickly. Dr. Rourke worked closely with Zexara to prepare the initial diplomatic contact with the HFY High Council. The message would emphasize the benefits of alliance with humanity while subtly mentioning the military forces that backed up human diplomatic positions. "Admiral," reported Lieutenant Webb, "we're receiving communications from multiple alien vessels throughout the region. Word of this contact is spreading quickly." Chen nodded with satisfaction. "Good. Let them all know that humanity is open to peaceful relationships, but fully capable of defending our interests. Sometimes the best way to avoid a war is to make sure everyone understands the consequences of starting one." As the Prometheus Dawn prepared to resume its survey mission with its new HFY liaisons aboard, Admiral Chen reflected on how the accidental first contact had developed. What began as a simple salvage operation had become the foundation for human diplomatic relationships in an entire region of space. The HFY would serve as intermediaries with other species, spreading the word that humanity was reasonable but powerful, generous to friends but dangerous to enemies. It was exactly the kind of reputation that would make future expansion smoother and safer for human colonies. Captain Zexara, now wearing a Terran Colonial Administration uniform, stood beside Cerberus's central interface and marveled at how completely her life had changed. Yesterday she had been a small-time salvager, hoping for a lucky find. Today she was humanity's newest diplomatic representative, with access to technology and knowledge beyond her wildest dreams. The galaxy had suddenly become a much larger and more interesting place, and humanity had just announced its presence, with a demonstration of power tempered by wisdom. For the HFY Consortium, it marked the beginning of a new era of prosperity and security under human protection. For other species watching from the shadows, it served as both invitation and warning. Humanity was here to stay, and they preferred to make friends rather than enemies.